growth, suggesting that the impact of twin shocks, demonetization and the goods and services tax has started to fade. GDP numbers for the second quarter of FY18 has come in at 6.3%, up from the 5.7% in Q1. So is this trend here to stay, or will the after effects of a GST be prolonged over the next few quarters? To talk on this, I'm joined by Shobna Kamineni, President of CII, and to also get an industry perspective on the GDP numbers. Ms. Kamineni, relief that we have seen a uptick after the 5.7% figure which came in last quarter, and what do you think have been the main contributors from the industry point of view?
So from an industry perspective, you must realize that actually this is kind of old news for us. We've already moved on to, we're looking at Q3. So from industry, we saw the results, the corporate results, and we saw that manufacturing was going to do well. Didn't expect it to have such a stellar performance. I wish that the services had picked up. But, you know, it's really good to see that the utilities, water, electricity, and all these have also picked up. So we're actually seeing the fundamentals are looking good. And I'm hoping that, you know, agriculture, the second crop will be better. We did have the stress. So I think last year, really, all the sectors participated in contributing to India's growth. And this time, this quarter, it was really manufacturing that stood out. So this is definitely good news for everybody. From the industry perspective, we knew these results.
Absolutely. Manufacturing has stood out as the big performer, but private investment still remains a concern. According to you, Ms. Shobna Kamineni, what are the biggest challenges and hurdles for industry to actually unleash those animal spirits?
So, I maintain that investments are actually the shyest. They come last to the party. And this has been a consumption-led economic growth for the last, several quarters. And of course, the government spending has really helped and energized it. But this quarter, we actually saw that it was the corporate sector also that participated from a strong manufacturing perspective. And I think that going forward, you're going to see that a lot of boardrooms, and this is what we've been hearing even from industry, that people are actually planning expansions at this point of time. And we maintain this, that we would have liked it to have come this year, but we're going to see that steady growth for the next 1 year onwards. This is going to be a continuous growth.
Okay. You speak about private consumption, which has grown by 6.5% in Q2, the lowest in the last 8 quarters. So that remains perhaps an area for concern. What do you see panning out over the next quarter as well?
I think it'll improve the next quarter because you're going to see you're going to see some of the spillover of the 7th Pay Commission. You're going to see stronger spends which are going to come, from infrastructure. We hope that the banks will start, with that recapitalization, that they'll start giving out loans. So all this is what we need really to create the energy. You had asked me earlier that question, what do we need? So I think what industry really needs at this point of time is we need workable interest rates. We need those to come down. But more than that, we need banks to start lending to, and the MSMEs. These are the sectors that need to pick up. And the real pain of people moving from the informal to the formal sector, at this point of time, they really need to be handheld. They need to be taken to the next level. And this is where we'll see a lot of growth, a lot of consumption, and most of all, we'll see jobs.
Speaking to a number of experts through the evening, and there is a view that even though the war seems to be over in terms of demonetization and GST, there seems to be an uptick clearly from the numbers. Exports continue to be an area of concern. Do you have a view on the timeline it will take for exports to now recover, especially in a GST regime?
So you had said that the implementation of GST is not yet over. Just remember that we're just 1/4 done, and normally this is a process that everybody expected to go over a year. And exports is one which especially which has really taken a beating in terms of working capital and refunds. So until we can get those refunds done faster, so that's one area. And then there's still inverted duty structures. For instance, if you see the rubber industry, the small manufacturers are struggling because of an inverted duty structure. So some of these anomalies have to be looked at and corrected. And that's what's going on at this point of time.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Sohrabuddin Trial, president of CII, saying that she's very optimistic that it's all news to industry, that there has been an uptick in manufacturing and there's much more to come in terms of private investment in Q3. All right, we'll move on to the next debate right here on Prime Time, where we're talking about the Sohrabuddin Sheikh encounter case. The Indian Express has reported that a CBI special court in Mumbai has restrained the media from reporting daily proceedings in the Sohrabuddin Sheikh fake encounter case. The report says now that while media will be allowed to attend the trial, day-to-day reporting has been barred because of security concerns. The case is being heard on the allegations of a fake encounter of Sohrabuddin Sheikh, his wife Kausarbi and associate Tulsi Ram Prajapati. The allegations have been levelled against senior police officers in the Gujarat police. Charges against BJP President Amit Shah in the case were dropped, remember. The court has also effectively gagged the media, saying that the case appears sensational. So did this particular case justify this media gag, and what kind of a precedent does it set? To speak on this, I'm joined now by Supreme Court lawyer, advocate KTS Tulsi, who in fact represented a CBI in the Sohrabuddin case in the Supreme Court, and I'm also joined by Ujjwal Nikam, senior criminal prosecutor. Thank you so much for speaking with us on Prime Time Debate. Mr. Tulsi, your view, because as per reports, what the court says is that the reporting would prejudice the case of prosecution and or defense and cause security problems for those accused facing trial. The prime reason seems to be a security problem. Do you think that's justified in your view, sir?
I don't think it is justified. I feel that the highest quality of justice is that it is open. The court is open. The court is open to journalists. People have a right to know, and that's why people have faith in the judicial system as opposed to the executive actions which are taken behind closed doors. And to security threat, if in a case like this the state can't protect people, witnesses or parties, there is no case in which they can do it. What can be more important than this case? Such high-profile accused, and the state can't come up with the excuse that they can't protect witnesses. The witnesses have got to be protected. And I've done terrorist cases in Punjab, and we kept the court open because that is what creates a greater sense of confidence amongst the people that yes, the truth is going to emerge, and they will get at the truth. The court has to relentlessly pursue the truth and place it before the people. The society wants to know that the guilty are punished or not punished. The whole purpose of criminal justice is a promise to every citizen that the wrongdoers will be punished.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, I also have Mr. Ujjwal Nikam with me, of course, senior prosecutor. So, you know, the reasons given in this particular case is, of course, security of and safety of the witnesses. talks about possible prejudice of the case. And at the end of the day, it stops all reporting on a day-to-day basis. Doesn't it take away transparency from the process?
At the outset, I must say that I totally agree with Mr. Senior Advocate, Mr. Tulsi. But now there are two important questions. Now the court has banned the media from reporting the court proceedings. And the reason assigned by the learned judge is twofold. Firstly, of the security of the witnesses, and secondly, likelihood of prejudice going to be caused to the accused. Now, it appears that this application for banning the media has been presented by the accused. Now, see, at the outset, I must say that this is an infringement of the fundamental rights of any person. Because according to law, the proceedings in camera, if court finds that particularly in rape cases, particularly in very high serious profile cases wherein the life of the victim or life of the witnesses are being raped. But I don't think that such a situation has happened in the present case. Now, secondly, I have conducted what Mr. Tulsi has rightly said, that under Tara Act, there was a specific provision for holding the proceedings in camera. But I must say that even the serial Bombay bomb blast case of 93, which I have conducted in Mumbai court, as well as the Ajmal Kasab case, we never hold the proceedings in the camera. We allowed the media people to sit in the court hall to watch the proceedings so that the public at large has an absolute fundamental right to know as to how the state is marshalling evidence, how the accused being prejudiced or not. So the first question that has been raised by the learned judge about the security of the state. Now, I don't know whether any witness has made a complaint before the court that no man's name should be concealed or it not be published. So limited, you see, relief that can be granted by the court. So far as the name, banning, as well as the addresses, identity, etc. But no such thing had happened. Now, the other question remains about prejudice, like going the prejudice card. Now, this is not a media trial. You see, the media is at liberty to comment if at all anybody commits a mistake. So I don't think that the reason assigned by the learned is some certain sound reason about this, so far as the prejudice is going to be caused to the accused by publishing the news in the...
You know, why this case is important as well is because it is the second instance in which a court has decided that the media will not report on day-to-day proceedings. The other one being, of course, in the case of UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. And in that case, the UP High Court has barred the media from reporting on day-to-day, happenings or proceedings of the court, saying that it is causing a lot of embarrassment as the observations are reported out of context and very often misquoted. That's what the order says. My question, KTS Tulsi, is that does this now set a precedent when it's a high-profile case where perhaps powerful people and big names are involved, just keep the media out so that any embarrassment, quote unquote, is avoided completely?
I think these orders or gag orders have actually the opposite effect. The media is not exercising its own power. Media doesn't have any special power under the Constitution. It is only discharging the obligation towards the general public. People have the right to know. And people can't be accommodated in a court, and therefore, through the agency of the media, the people are being informed as to what is happening and what is not happening. People remain confident of the truth emerging at the end of the trial when they are being told on day-to-day progress of the case. If they are not told, just because high-profile people are responsible, this gag order can actually do great disservice to them, because unnecessary suspicion is created. So I don't think it is correct to prohibit, because the whole concept is that of court if there is supposed to be danger to the lives of the people, that can be said about every case. It's a responsibility. It's the duty of the state to protect witnesses. It's the duty of the state to ensure that the court is able to function unhindered by any disturbance. These are the responsibilities of the state. They can't run away and instead hide behind gag orders. This is not right.
You know, Mr. Nikam, there are some instances where, as you mentioned, in-camera trials are held, especially when it is in particular to, cases involving minors or molestations and such kind of situations. So where does one draw the line?
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Nikam.
What's your question? In minor and rape cases, what you said?
Yeah, so there are some instances where in-camera trials are held, like you said, especially when involving minors, for example, sensitive issues about rape or molestation cases. So where does one draw the line?
You see, this is a very specific provision in law that so far as the especially the sexual offences are concerned, that now the law requires that such proceedings must be held in camera. Neither the name of the victim nor their address should be published by any media person. We can understand the logic behind making such type of provision. Because ultimately, you see, the victim is a woman. And ultimately, if there is a minor woman or adult woman, such proceedings should not be published at all. Because that concerns about the honor of a victim, honor of a woman. And therefore, there can't be any compromise. But so far as the other rest of the cases are concerned, the fundamental principle of criminal jurisprudence is that there should be a transparency in all the legal proceedings. And therefore, perhaps, if media won't be allowed to write down, but I can understand there are certain cases where the media give their opinion, media also carries certain influences. That should not happen. Media has no right to give any judgment on the pending issue. But media can faithfully report the proceedings happening in the court. Certainly that is their fundamental right. We can't curtail that fundamental right. But if court feels that media is impeaching and overstepping their fundamental right, then certainly the court also justifies in restricting the media's fundamental right also. But that happens in exceptional cases. But I have come across wherein the media has been allowed to sit in the court hall. The media has never gone to a particular, and where I find the media has gone, then I have warned these media reporters also, and they accept, and therefore they did not avoid. There was no recurrence of such type of cases. So the basic issue is that whether it is justifiable to restrain from the reporting of day-to-day proceedings, and whether it is justified that media should not publish at all any court proceedings, why we are saying this uncertainty in the matter? That is the precondition.
Okay, just last quick question, Mr. Tulsi, why this order perhaps gains even more importance is because we're in a time of social media where there are a number of publications or digital sites who live tweet pretty much every word in important cases and bring the whole transparency of the process to a different level. In this age, do you think now we need to tread carefully with such precedents?
No. In fact, the Supreme Court has issued notice on the desirability in a time-bound manner to install cameras in courts, and so that the entire proceeding is recorded. And since the proceeding is recorded, it will also be open to the public for viewing. There's nothing wrong. It happens in the Parliament. Why shouldn't it happen in the courts? So we, instead of moving towards greater transparency that the Supreme Court is trying to, this is retrograde, I think. It isn't a kind of a case where there is a rape or molestation, where there will be a stigma. This is one of the normal cases, and the court must adopt normal procedures and not extraordinary procedures.
Okay. Well, what determines if a case is too sensational to report is a question that this order definitely raises. Thank you so much, KTS Tulsi and Ujjwal Nekam, for speaking with us this evening on Primetime Debate. Congress leader Shehzad Poonawalla has hit the headlines for a letter he's written to Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi challenging the upcoming presidential elections within the party. He's alluded to dynastic politics at its best, saying that these elections are rigged and the outcome is predetermined. He's also talked about not taking part in these elections because of a certainty that someone like him without a famous last surname would not stand a chance. Well, what's making Shehzad Poonawalla angry? Let's find out by speaking with him. Mr. Poonawalla, why have all of a sudden you discovered that the Congress is a dynastic party?
Well, I have been working for the Congress from 2008-9 onwards, and I have been seeking time from Rahulji from 2011 onwards to address this issue of dynasty. I have in 6 years never got an audience from him. In 2016, I was appointed as the Maharashtra Congress President Secretary. My party curiously today says I'm not a congressman. I have letters after letters written by the party organization to me, but and a press release by Janardhan Dwivedi where my name is there, but they say I don't exist in Congress. So I have tried to reach out to him and tell him that dynasty is a problem in the party, and now especially when this election or so-called selection is taking place, there were certain facts that came to light in front of me. One, that the delegates who were supposed to be elected by, as per the constitution, to elect the president of the Congress party, they have been stage managed, they have been fixed. I have proof of that. And secondly, an official spokesperson of the Congress, even before the nominations have been filed, has said that the Congress party will have only a Gandhi as its president for not 10 years, 20 years, but for 50 and 100 years. So it's a clear endorsement that this is not an election, it's a selection. And therefore, I felt that there is not a wrong time to do the right thing, and I thought that one must speak out against this dynasty and against this flawed system, and therefore I wrote emails to Rahulji.
Sure.
I don't know how they reach the media, but once they have, I'm not going to deny what I've said.
Okay, I mean, clearly how it reached the media, I don't know. A lot of people would say that you wanted your voice heard, and perhaps there's nothing wrong in that. My question to you is, what stops you from taking part in this election? Has anyone in the Congress party told you that, Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla, you cannot take part in this election?
Well, curiously, when the Congress party was asked for their reaction on the systemic flaws that I just highlighted, how delegates who are supposed to be elected as per Article 12 of my constitution, they have been selected by, dynastic, sycophantic state presidents at the behest of Sonia ji. They said that Shehzad is not even a member of the Congress party, so there's no question of him even being allowed to contest. They are denying my existence despite official letters of the party appointing me. So you can see that they don't want a fair contest. They don't want anybody to contest one Rahul Gandhi in an election. Therefore, the system was rigged. It proves my point. And secondly, I have the proof that in one of the states, these delegates were not elected. They were appointed and they were handpicked as yes men by the state president, who's a yes man of Rahul ji. By the way, Rahul ji has never contested an election in the party. He is the selected vice president. He's the selected general secretary. He's going to contest against an ordinary karyakarta, say like me or somebody else. He gets a 90% head start. The others don't have the same platform. So if we are going to have this election, let's have it with genuine delegates. Let's have it with Rahul ji resigning from the vice president post, and let's have it on merit, not on the basis of somebody's surname.
Okay, so, is it mandatory for resignations from post to fight an election? I'm not so sure. But at this point, Shehzad, what is the clear message that you're trying to send. Some people are saying that perhaps it's a cry for attention because in your letter you mentioned that Rahul Gandhi has not responded to you, not met you despite your requests. So are you upset about that? Is it, you just want him to notice you, or are you planning to switch over to another party?
Tamanna, for a large part of my political career till 2016, I did not have any big office in the party. I mean, I was an NSUI vice president once upon a time, but apart from that, nothing. And I don't want any position, I don't want any ticket, I don't want any post, I don't want to contest the president election in the party. All I want is a simple rule that can end dynastic politics in our party. And that rule is that in one family, there must be one ticket. The reason I want this rule is because overwhelmingly our party favors dynasts, whether it comes to giving them posts, whether it comes to, take a state, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Haryana, Punjab, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. Who are the presidents? They are all dynasts. Okay, 48% of the Lok Sabha tickets in 2014 were given to dynasts. Overwhelmingly, they are favored in every party's decision making. Where is the space for non-dynasts? So this is the principle that was espoused by Gandhiji. Gandhiji never had his children in this party. So we need to return to those principles. We lost the 2014 election because we looked like a party that supported dynasty and parivarvad.
No,
and therefore to win the new future elections, we need to get out of this parivarvad.
It's interesting you say this, Shehzad, because at Berkeley, when asked a question about dynasty, Rahul Gandhi talked about a number of people from entertainment and from business and said that, there are dynasts all across the country. I'll say this again. Is it news to you that the Congress party runs on dynasty? It's what the BJP has been saying for a long time. And if you're unhappy, will you be quitting and joining perhaps the BJP, which has an anti-dynasty position?
The problem is that nobody asked Rahulji when he said that in Berkeley, that in 2007, when you were selected as the General Secretary of the party, you promised to the youth of this country that I will reform the IYC and the NSUI, the youth wings, so that non-dynasts can enter. You failed on that. You still were selected despite the losses that we faced in UP elections and all over the country. You were selected as the vice president. You then promised us that in 2014 I will reform the system and reform the party now that I'm becoming vice president. You continued to favor dynasts. You continued to favor feudal system. So the point is that rather than blaming the Indian society for dynastism, the Congress vice president should have told us that whether he's accepting a rule that I have proposed, one person in a family gets a ticket. That's a simple rule to end dynastyism, but he did not do that. And as far as where I will go, I have always loved the Congress. I continue to love the Congress, and I will continue to fight against Sangh Parivar and Parivarvad. Both of these things I'll want to fight, and I'll fight it as long as they consider me to be a congressman within the Congress forum.
Well, maybe you should try your luck at these elections, Shehzad. You never know.
I would have tried my luck at these elections, and for that Rahulji has to do three things. One, allow genuine delegates to be elected, not for them to be handpicked and selected by his cronies. Two, he must allow himself and myself and all of us to compete on the same platform. He can't run 90 meters ahead and then start the race. And three, let's have a televised debate. You can anchor it. Let's do it on merit. Let's see who articulates a position better. Let's see who wins elections better. Let's see who convinces people better. But I don't think people are up for testing merit over surname.
All right. Well, thanks for speaking with us, Shehzad Poonawalla, Congress leader. Of course, some in the Congress party are debating that fact right now, saying that dynasty is what is holding the party back. Direct challenge to Rahul Gandhi. Is it a cry for attention? Will it lead to anything more than maybe some headlines? Remains to be seen. But he has raised a point which has resonated with a number of political watchers.